Hey, what's going on? So I know it's not Saturday. Usually my vlog day is on Saturday. Well, it's always been on Saturday, but sometimes, even though I vlog on Saturday, the uploads get uploaded on Sunday. I'm losing my voice, as you can tell. I don't know if I'm getting sick. I don't feel sick, but I woke up this morning real congested. Well, I tried to talk to my boy this morning, and my voice just cracked. Like I reached a certain point where I just couldn't talk. So it happens. You know, I need to start taking care of myself. But my parts do show up tomorrow. I've been waiting for my hub, which is the Primo Freemix Pro, and my tires, which I'm getting hooked up. I can't show you guys yet, but I'll show you guys when I get them set up tomorrow, which is pretty cool. And some other goodies they said they were going to throw in, so that is super, super cool. Now, saying that, last time, last Saturday, Sunday when I uploaded, I was working the bike, I threw my pedals on and the headset, but there's one thing I didn't check. Well, if you guys watched the vlog last time, I was talking about how pedals seized up, you know, when you don't put grease, and I also said how my right side pedal seized up because that's the side I dropped the bike on the most. Well, I took it apart, of course, and I was like, well, I'll take the opportunity to clean the sprocket because the sprocket was full of grease, you know, from the chain, and just make it look nice. But the one thing I didn't do that I didn't check, well, the bottom bracket bearings. And, you know, since I get my parts tomorrow, I went on and I jumped on the bike real quick. You know, they have the tires or nothing. Just sat on it because I'm excited. I'm excited to get it right again. But when I move the cranks, you can hear that creaking, grinding noise. Now, I wanted to show you guys how to fix that noise. You know, just pretty much how to clean used bearings. Because sometimes you don't have the opportunity. Or you're like me, you know, you just don't buy them. Usually I go through a lot of bottom bracket bearings because I do like doing sprocket bashes. And I do have a sprocket guard, so it just happens. But this time around, I didn't buy myself any bottom bearings. So I'm going to show you guys how to remove them from your frame, clean them, you know, grease them up, throw them back in there. You know, it's not going to be the almost proper way, but it's going to be the closest to proper way because I do not have a press to press the bearings in. So I am going to have to use a dead blow hammer, but, you know, you have to use what you have, but just don't destroy your parts. Right, now I'm going to show you exactly what I'll be using. Let's say if you guys don't have these tools, you can probably find a workaround. But since I have them, I'm going to show you guys what I'm using. Okay, so I got the shadow tool. You know, it has every tool in the game. I like this tool. It's in 3-in-1 oil now. Oh, it's a lube, really. I wouldn't really recommend using these type of oils, lubes, on pretty much anything. But since I'm just going to use it for one certain thing, it really doesn't matter. I'll show you guys when I get to that point, but I wouldn't recommend these. Of course, you need some bearing grease, some thinner to clean the bearings out, a dead blow hammer so you don't break crap, a toothbrush to clean your bearings, a regular hammer because I'm going to need it for the tool. That's for your cranks. This is a screwdriver. I'm going to show you what you guys would use that for. I am not going to use that to remove the bearings though. That's dumb. Don't ever do that. You're going to destroy it. This is for, of course, the tool, and Allen keys for the bolt and the crank. I also forgot my tub and a nice white cloth. Okay, I need to figure out a good angle to show you guys. I don't have any help. Usually it's Monday or someone around here is helping me out. But I'm probably going to put you guys in the tripod, try to get the closest and try not to interfere where you guys can see. Hopefully I can do a good job. Hopefully. Okay, now I do have the Odyssey, I believe it's a Thunderbolt cranks. So these are pretty simple to take off. Of course, just get, I believe, what is this, 6 mil, your 6 mil key, crank it off. Also, I don't have it really tight either because, like I said, I just threw it on last time. Now, there is no tool to take the Thunderbolt cranks off, but what you can do is get yourself a profile crank remover. It's exact same inside. Insert, just screw it on. If I use a dead blow hammer, it will work, but it's going to take too long because it's not going to put enough force on the bolt. So just using a regular hammer will just knock it right out. Alright, unscrew it. When you're working on pretty much anything, make sure you set everything aside, you know, in a nice good place. That way you don't get things lost or if you get confused. Give them a good wipe down, even though I'm just going to knock them out. They do look clean because I just got the brush. Last time I just wiped them off, but the inside, see how they're barely turning? It's because it's full of dirt. And what happens when you get dirt is the bearings start to grind inside and it doesn't want to spin correctly. If you look at a lot of pros bikes, usually when they do like 180 tricks or crank flips, you can hear like it just makes a horrible sound like a popping, or even when you just pedal. So that's why I need to take these out. Okay, now to remove these, Never use a screwdriver to pop them out. You're going to end up hitting right here and you're going to mess up the racer or the bearing or the crown. Pretty much what I'm going to do is, since I do have a bottom bracket spacer. Okay, there's a big YouTuber out there. He's another BMX vlogger. And he's addressed how he doesn't use bottom bracket spacers. And he's sort of told kids not to use it. Use your damn bottom bracket spacer. You will blow out your bearings. I'll get into more detail when I take out the bearings, how that would happen and why. But don't be stupid like him. Bad. Alright, now for the screwdriver, I said do not use it to move the bearings. All I'm going to do is I am going to push the spacer up so I can have leverage. Alright, now the spacer is up inside. And what you're going to do is you're going to use that spacer to actually knock out your bearing. If you wanted to, you can use a screwdriver, but it will damage the spacer, of course. What I'm going to use, I have a 17 millimeter socket, deep socket, and the end is sort of narrowed in, so I'm just going to stick it in there and hammer it out. Again, the reason why I like the shadow tool, everything in there will build and take apart your bike. Now, at this end, I am going to stick it in there, boom, and I'm just going to hammer it out, and the bearing will just fly right out. Alright, now I gotta do the other side. Now it's easier since the spacer is removed. I literally can just put it in there and hammer. Done! Okay, there's one tool that I forgot to tell you guys about, and that is find like a flat, really thin screwdriver. I have one. I actually filed it down. That way it's a little sharper at the edge. And this is pretty much so you can remove the O-ring off the bearing so you can dip it in the solvent. Sorry. I forget. Okay, the reason why I use a bottom bracket spacer is because bearings aren't made for side-to-side force. Now, they are made for up and down force. That's because, well, if you look at a bearing, the roller bearings are side-to-side. You know, they're not getting force this way. Well, that's from the bore though, okay? There are certain bearings that are made for side-to-side force and up and down force, and those would be like roller bearings. Okay, you're starting to see those a lot more now because drive chains, the actual driver, the cog of a bike are starting to get smaller and smaller. So there's a need for roller bearings on them. I guess on bigger stuff like bottom brackets, stuff like that, you know, there's no need yet because regular bearings are doing fine as long as you know what you're doing, like putting a bottom bracket spacer in. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove these rubber rings off them. And then I'm going to pour some solvent in here and leave them in there for a bit. That way the grease can get removed. You know, you got to clean them out. I don't know if you can hear them. Can you hear them? They're full of sand. I should mention how to take these rings off. I remember seeing some, I forgot who it was, they told people to take them off from right here from the very edge. Don't do that. You're just going to damage the ring because there's a seal behind it a little further. Take it off about right to there. I don't know, the camera's not even focusing. But yeah, take it off right there. Just get in and just pop it off and they'll just come off real simple. Alright, now with my bearings, I thought there was sand in them. My bearings are actually making that noise from water. Now, you can't help water getting in your bearings. It's going to happen over time, especially if you use your bike to commute. Nowadays, BMX bikes aren't really made to commute. They're made to just be at the skate park. It's the truth. That's just how manufacturers work. They make them just to be at the skate park. But you can still, you know, it is a bike. You're going to commute with it. But I'm going to show you how my bearings look. This is water damage, okay? If you notice sort of like a white creamy look, that's because the bearings got wet and the oil got wet, or the grease inside of it. You know, it mixed with water. That's what happens. But you can actually see right there where it's black around, that's actually metal. So I probably did have a little sand in them. All right, now I got the O-rings off. I got my bearings. I am just going to dip them in the paint thinner, the solvent, and just leave it there for, say, 10 minutes. It's just enough, that way the solvent can actually start working and taking off the grease. Now, whatever you do, do not leave your bearings and solvent overnight. You can do that, but what would happen is it's going to start eating through the rust. There's like a film that they use when they make all metal parts. It doesn't matter who makes it. There's a coating, a protective layer on the metal. Now, if you leave them in there for too long, it will eat the protective metal. I'm just giving you guys a head up. Do not leave it overnight, because when you take your bearings out and you're getting ready to prepare them, they will be rusted as hell. So 5-10 minutes the most, just enough to just remove the grease. Okay, now this is how the bearings should look when they're super clean, no grease in them. They should spin freely, no binding, nothing like that. All right, now after you clean the bearings with the paint thinner, rinse them off with some warm water. Make sure all the thinner's off, you know, that way, well, That way there's no thinner on them. All right, now for these O-rings, the thinner will eat through the rubber, right? So when you do these, make sure you do it fast. Don't be like super, in a hurry, but just do it fast and rinse them off with water, of course. Make sure you dry them off because again, the thinner will eat through the rubber if you take your time. So these, do not let them soak. Just scrub them off, or you can just wipe them off and just, whatever. Now water, of course, will rust metal. This is where the 3-in-1 comes in, or any kind of lubricant. You can even use vegetable oil. Pretty much all I'm going to do is I am going to throw the bearings in here, soak them full of oil, spin them around, do its thing, get it all in there, and just let them soak again for a little bit, 5-10 minutes. However, you can actually let these sit overnight if you're lazy. I really just let it sit overnight because I am super lazy, but that's what you could do. That way they do not rust. See, it's super simple. Got some lube in there, some little lubricant in there. Just let them do its thing. Go drink water, drink a soda, watch TV, do whatever. Do whatever your heart desires. Bearings are clean. They're lubed up. They spin freely. Actually, they spin really, really good for year-old bearings. Most bearings for me don't last maybe, 4 months, if I'm lucky. All right, now we gotta grease them. Greasing is real simple. So as greasing your bearings is really simple. You're just gonna fill it all the way as you can, and then you're just gonna put the O-rings back on, and then you're gonna bleed them out. Now, bleeding the bearing out is also simple. After you fill it, it's gonna be really compact with grease. Now, you don't wanna just throw it in your bike, because when you start rolling and it starts spinning, all that grease will start leaking out of the bearing, which is bleeding a bearing. So you want to do that manually. So pretty much after it's done, you just gotta like roll it. I'm gonna use my thumb, so that way it doesn't get, it's snug on but doesn't get stuck, and just roll it. That way it bleeds itself. So that's what we're doing now. Just in case you do want to know, that's about how much grease these bearings should have. I don't know if you can see it quite well, if you'll focus. Probably won't, but that's about as much grease as you should have. Just enough for the top. I just went one good ring around, and then I'm gonna do the other side as well. Now when you bleed a bearing, see how that grease is coming out? That's what you want. You want all that grease just flow out. That way the bearing feels a little smoother. Because right now, since it's so packed with grease, it's gonna roll, and it feels like it's amazing, but you want it to actually roll a little better than how it feels. Because right now it's like real dense inside, full of grease. So like I said, just get it and just roll it, roll it, roll it, roll it, until it starts bleeding even more grease out. All right, now that the bearings have been bled out of grease, the excess grease, so you wouldn't have any problems installing them, or even if you want to take throw the bearings off in the near future if you break them, grease the crown of your frame. It just helps it out. I said you don't want things to rust and seize up. I am a big advocate of grease. The more, the merrier. The less you have to work on your bike. All right, now I do not have a bearing press, so I have my dead blow hammer. Now what you want to do is you just want to hit it and make sure it's center. Always make sure it's center. Again, do not forget your bottom bracket spacer. All right, got it on. Turns freely, pretty good. Now just throw your cranks back together. Grease, use it. Make sure nothing moves, everything spins. Oh, that sounds amazing. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, crank food for days. I am excited to ride tomorrow. Hell yeah. Always a good feeling when you know everything's gonna work. Always a good feeling. Of course, wipe off any excess grease. That way it looks clean. Unless you like it dirty and you want to take the bearings off again because you got sand in them. Or worse, water like me. Oh, hell yeah. Okay, now that would be how you install a bottom bracket. Clean it, remove it. Pretty much any bearing on your bike, since they're all the same except the roller bearing that's in your driver. That's how you would clean them all. The exact same way. Of course, actually, no, that's how you even remove them all. They're all the exact same thing. So, I'm super stoked that I'm getting my parts tomorrow, that I'll be able to ride again. I really don't ride as much as I wish I could, but I just can't, That and I just get lazy, but that's my problem. Now, I might make a video of me lacing my wheel tomorrow, setting up my bike. Might, maybe, I don't know. It depends how I feel. So I'm just good off, and of course, I'll see you guys next time.
Love is alive and well. 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 Love is alive and well.
Love is alive and well. Love is alive